They didn't make him the center, the nucleus, and the jewel of the team and built a team around that nucleus and that jewel. That was United's biggest mistake. But it's a mistake, Pogba, because this is an emotional move. It's not the right move. The Pogmentary, man. The Pogmentary. Look, man, some people say, okay, no, why should you be releasing documentaries and so forth, blah 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 blah. For me, I like it, and I think it's even something that your boy Vader said on one of the live shows that we had. I like to hear from the player's perspective now, because you know how reporters kind of come and just create BS, and then the player with the blue tick verified can say, "Oh no, this is BS. This is crap. Come listen to me." Oh, then it makes the reporter look like a clown. So it's very interesting to now hear from the player's perspective, because all we hear are journalists, newspapers, journalists. So if the player now comes and says, "Oh no, I'm the guy that they're talking about," look at it from my perspective, it now gives us more ingredients for us to now try and now come to a better truth. And so much has been written about Pogba. Shout out to your boy Graham Souness, man. But so much has been written about Pogba. So Pogba is this, Pogba is that, and so forth. And it's very easy to paint a certain picture of a dude if you're hearing it from one source. But if you're not hearing it from another source and so forth, and you're not hearing from one side and another side, you're like, okay, cool. How they said, oh, there's two sides, or sometimes even three sides to a story. You want to hear as many different versions so you can say what's up. It's like if you're in a court of law. If all you hear is from the prosecution, then okay, what do we have to deliberate about? The deliberation is because we've heard the prosecution's arguments and we've heard the defense's arguments. And who makes a strong argument, the defense or the prosecution? So, because I made notes here. The very things that I definitely want to just go through in this documentary, which I thought was it was entertaining. I was actually entertained by this, because Pogba is an interesting dude. And it will even go to how I think United screwed up here with Pogba. But I think he's an interesting dude. And because he's so interesting and charismatic, his life is interesting and it is attracting and so forth. So, and even as he alludes to, he says he wants a feature in movies and films. Well, it is actually, dust up on your acting and so forth to say what's up. But as a brand and for somebody who can be interesting, bro, he has it. So I think, look, the first thing that struck me is the closeness he has to those around him, specifically with Mino Raiola and, of course, his lawyer. Like, his lawyer pretty much lives with him and his family. Like, his lawyer met his wife and so forth. So, but I think it's a closeness, because you know how we thought that, whenever Raiola would put out certain statements and we're like, well, maybe he's saying it without Pogba's blessing and so forth. Maybe they're at odds. Maybe he just allows Raiola to say whatever he wants and so forth, and Raiola just deals with it. And people were like, that makes no sense, because he's your agent, and whatever your agent says is supported by the player. The agents would never say anything that contradicts or goes against their freaking clients, or else they'll be freaking sacked. But what we've seen here is, these guys are 100% on the same page. No, these guys have a very, very deep relationship. These guys are extremely close. And 1,000%, whatever Raiola says, Pogba 100% fully agrees with, because they are that close. Because if you view someone as like your second father or so forth, and Raiola, I'm sure, views him as sort of like a son and so forth, that means that anything that's been said, we're on the same page. We're singing on the same hymn sheet. We are completely united in the message that has been sent on social media and to these clubs. So that was something that was very striking, is the closest here with your boy Mino Raiola. And I think all throughout the whole documentary, I think there was a theme of like wanting to be loved. I think there's something that his brother said, I think it's Florentin Pogba, said that he's very sensitive. And it's interesting that he says that, because that must mean that out of the three of them, because I think it's him and his twin brothers, they obviously view him as the most sensitive out of all of them three. So that is very telling, that somebody that's very sensitive, he has much more of an eagerness to feel loved and to really feel he's part of something, and really you're really embracing him. And I'll get that because that's a very important point, because it comes back to management and knowing how to manage different players and the different kinds of approach you have to have with different players. There's like sometimes you need a hands-on approach with guys, hands-off approach. Maybe you need a much more of an emotional, embracive approach. Sometimes you may mean like a harder approach. It depends on the kind of personality and the characteristics and the personality of the player that really dictates the kind of approach you should have. That just comes from how good of you as a manager in knowing how to approach certain dudes, which is what something like a Fergie was great at. But there's a one line that said it all for me. And this was the line of the whole thing. I think this was the whole thing of whether Pogba would stay or would he go and so forth. And they just had all of these like journalists saying all this stuff. Boom, boom, boom. It was like really, really, really quick. And then I caught us like, oh, no. Pause. That's it. This is the heat, the crux, and everything of why his time at United failed. That he said it. And we already knew it's over, but just that line encapsulated it. They did not build the team around him. And they did not make him the center of United. That's the key thing. They didn't make him the center, the nucleus, and the jewel of the team, and built a team around that nucleus and that jewel. That was United's biggest mistake. It was the biggest mistake, And it goes to the kind of player that you're getting. You're getting a guy who is extremely talented, who has amazing ability, who was superb for Juventus. Once you get that talent, you now have to now make him appreciated, make him feel loved, and build the right team around him. You have to now give him the players that are deserving of the kind of talents that he has. No offense to your boy Bruno, no offense to your boy Scott McSauce or your boy Fred Flintstone, but those guys do not have the kind of talents that should be played around a Paul Pogba, a guy with this incredible talent. And again, you look at, I think another key thing is, which is what I sort of knew, but this was confirmed for me. He was captain of the under-20 team, the guys that won the World Cup. I actually remember watching that final. And I think that's when, he did the whole Pogba penalty kick run-up. So he's been a leader since he was young. And we obviously saw what he did in the dressing room during the World Cup final and that kind of speech he made. So again, talent, ability, superb few seasons for Juventus, happened to lead them to a UCL final in 2015. And he's got leadership qualities. Because sometimes guys are like Messi, superb, incredible, unicorn-like talents. He isn't a natural leader. But you have a guy like a Pogba who has all this amazing talent and ability, and he's a leader as well, and he's been shown to be a leader since he was playing for the under-20s, man. Also, I like the whole cartoon effect, and that's actually pretty cool. And it broke things up and just, really added to the kind of filmic quality and everything. Because I like the whole cartoon thing. It was cool. Mino Raiola, again, rest in peace to him as well. He suggested PSG. That was interesting. That was really interesting, because I believe that the right move for Pogba is PSG. Because what Mino Raiola was saying is that the Pogba we see at France is one of the best players in the world. The Pogba we see at United in that freaking dude. And we need to keep on seeing on a regular basis the Pogba we see for France. And he feels that PSG is the right place with the right players around him to say what's up. I get it, it's the holiday camp and so forth, the LSG. But 100% I feel the kind of guy that Pogba is, remember, Pogba kept alluding to he feels American. He loves the American lifestyle because he likes how they kind of bravado and how in America they allow you to really be yourself. And I think in America they lead more towards the individual and the personality as opposed to Europe. Like in England, they suppress that personality. It's like no, it's part of the team. The team is greater than you are and so forth and everything. Because I feel that you should have a balance. 100%. When you're a footballer, the team comes first, the club comes first, and you have to play a role. But at the same time, we should also leave rooms for the individual to express themselves, the individual to have a bit of bravado, a bit of talk, big chest and everything, and allow the personalities of players to come through. It's all about a balance. You don't want it to be too much of the player power. It's all about the player, and you don't want it to be too much about the team where the player has zero character or zero personality. It's about having the pendulum swing right in the middle and a nice balance of both. But it was because it was interesting that Mino suggested PSG, because I think PSG would have been the right move. I believe PSG, it would be the right move for the kind of player that Pogba is. And I think you would be seeing more of that to do to Pogba, and a guy appreciated for what he was if he's played with a freaking Marco. That's it. For the just him and Marco in that midfield. Oh, and you also go Mbappe there and Messi there and Neymar as well. Pogba would be cooking. Which is why I think Juve ain't really the right one. Other interesting thing as well, his mom was a player. They say his mom was a number 10. So it just shows, because like, for instance, like Messi's mom has zero interest in football and so forth. That's why you hardly see her in the games and so forth. Cristiano's mom, she may not be a player, but Cristiano's mom, I think she supports Sporting Lisbon. So Cristiano's mom is very into football as well. But I think for Pogba's mom, she actually played. Because I think they say she grew up in Guinea, so she used to play as a footballer in Guinea, which I thought was interesting. And I think, also, I just think, look, man, also what Pogba even talked about was about image. And you can see a guy who is very aware of his image and brand. Guys, see, you have to move with the times. And I think this is where guys like that, old fogey Graham students need to realize that, look, man, you're old. No offense, but you're old. And you need to get with the times. You can't keep becoming a traditional matches. Tradition is cool and everything, but you have to understand that the world keeps moving. How the world is right now isn't how it was 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And if you are so stubborn as you want to say, no, this is how it is, the world will leave you behind. Trust me, the world will leave you behind. What matters most is the youth. Because the old people will die off, and the youth are the future. So whatever the youth are dictating, or whatever they're saying is what's up, is what you should listen to. So you must always be with the times and have an ear to what is now coming in the next 2, 3, 4 years. Look at Mbappe right now. Look at what Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo have done right now. This is the age in which, as much as the managers have a power, players are even bigger superstars right now and bigger personalities. Social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Look at Cristiano's Instagram. Look at Messi's Instagram. Look at Neymar's Instagram. Look at Pogba's Instagram. It's a big thing. And with the power of social media and Instagram, we as fans, we can now get much closer to the players. Because at the end of the day, I'll keep it real with you. At the end of the day, there are more fans of Messi and Cristiano than there are fans of Man United. I'll say it again, and people may say I'm wrong. There are more fans, there are more people who are fully obsessed with a Messi and a Cristiano than there are of a Man United, a Real Madrid, or a Barcelona. These players carry with them fans unlike any other, because we don't watch, because the club is just an institution. It's a thing. I told you, I didn't support Chelsea because, it's Chelsea Football Club. No, I supported Chelsea because of Zola. The guys, I supported United because of Cristiano. How many people have told me that the reason why they support Barcelona was because of Ronaldinho? Not because they just like Barcelona's colors, or they just like what Barca looks like, or they just like Camp Nou. It's because of Dino. So Pogba understands that the image is very key. And his image at United is being hampered. Because with these bad performances, not doing well in a team that doesn't function, that image of a guy who has super amazing charisma, extremely likable, and is also extremely talented, and is one of the most talented midfielders out there, that image gets hampered if you're not really seeing that on a week-to-week basis. The issue is, for France, it's few and far between. It's a World Cup here, a Euros here, a thing here, and so forth. And just quickly, just on the Euros, man, that was painful. Just looking at those Euros again, that was painful, because I'm like, I get it. Because, look, this is my thing. Benzema, there was a guy, wide right, who was in space. He didn't have to give the ball back to Pogba where there were 3 guys around him. I get it. Pogba lost the ball, but Benzema, you could have given the ball out wide right. But fair enough, Pogba lost the ball. I'm not sure that it was Kante in there who let the ball go through. Kimpembe is a moron. I know it's just, Kimpembe cannot be allowed to play football ever again. He can't be allowed to sniff the pitch for France. Especially the World Cup, you can't have Kimpembe in that World Cup, because why go to ground? Just hold your ground and so forth. Stand him up. And if you stand him up and everything, you cannot get guys coming back. Why did he have to go to ground, you stupid moron? That's why this guy is trash. But sorry, that's beside the point. But look, overall, I think with this whole Pogba thing, look, it's looking like he goes to Juventus. And for me, you see, I don't think the Juve move makes sense, but I can understand it after watching this documentary. Because the move that makes sense is PSG. That's the move that makes sense. But I can understand it because Pogba is sensitive. He's a huge, big family man, as seen with his wife, Zuzulia, and so forth. And he wants to go to a place where he feels appreciated. And he just feels that United didn't appreciate him. Now, I don't know the details of what was. See, that's the whole thing. So United said, okay, we offered him this. And now Mino and Pogba said, well, they offered a contract that was disrespectful. I don't know the details of that stuff. That doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is he shouldn't be staying at United because United have shown in the last few years that they're not a serious team. Listen to this. Since Fergie has left, there's been no player. The only player who has improved since they've joined United is De Gea. The only player who has maintained their level since joining United has been Cristiano Ronaldo. But there's a Cristiano tax because he's just a freak of nature. But the only guy who has the only people who've maintained or improved their level has been De Gea and Cristiano. Everybody has gone down. Every player who has joined United, their stock has dropped. Do you know who Kagawa was at Dortmund? His stock dropped. Mata was better at Chelsea. So he needs to get, because United is a toxic place. See, if it was a case where many players went to United, they actually got better, they actually improved and so forth, then it's fine. Even Bruno, initially, wow, now the guy's garbage. Who talks about Bruno right now? So I just think that for Pogba, 100% he has to leave. We have to go to the right place. And I feel that the right place is PSG. But do you know why Juve make sense? He's going to a place where he's loved, where he's appreciated, and where he's now valued. But it's a mistake, Pogba, because this is an emotional move. It's not the right move. And whenever you make a move based on emotions, more times than not, it doesn't work out. You must always put emotions in check and make the right logical footballing move. And the right logical footballing move right now, because Real are spoken for, I believe Bayern are spoken for, City are spoken for, it's PSG. It's PSG. PSG is the right move because it benefits PSG, it benefits you as well, and it is what will help push your career forward. With the way Juve are right now, unless Juve makes some serious signings and signatures in the summer, let's say the way Juve are constructed, this feels to me like a step back. But who knows? Pogba could go to Juve and he could be so superb. He could be truly amazing and change things around. So if it is Juventus, prove me wrong and say, look, I'm showing you why Juve works. But if it's not Juve, if it's like a PSG, that's what makes sense. But who knows? I think that this is Pogba's last real big move. And maybe, as we'll see in the documentary, Pogba, wherever he goes, whether it's Juve or so forth, he wants to prove that in my next move, I'm going to prove that I'm still that dude and I'm still one of the best players in the world. It is what it is.